And, of course, no one's going to bomb it because it's a shadow army. Huckabee slams Obama for stripping grandmothers while known terrorists tweet they're going to attack. He calls for scrapping the TSA. I actually like that. That makes sense what Huckabee's saying. The New York Times loves blasphemy except when it targets Muslims. Now, I want to be clear about this. I'm the guy that is most credited with exposing the fact that 9/11, as we were told it happened, was a fable. And that our government basically stood down bare minimum. And that most of the al-Qaeda force was Western intelligence cutouts, corporate cutouts, as a pretext to invade countries that were innocent like Iraq and to take control of opium in Afghanistan. That's all been borne out and proven accurate. I get a lot of criticism from people explaining to me what false flags are and what provocateurs are and things like that. That's like explaining to Babe Ruth how to hit a home run. Okay, fine. Or it's like telling me the Federal Reserve's private. Gee, I didn't know that. Or, you know, that Barack Obama's a big fat liar and so's Hillary. I mean, the ISIS is a completely different operation. Hitler wasn't under the control of some of the robber barons in England and the United States. He was funded and wound up and had peace treaties with England that had been declassified and was told he was going to be allowed to invade Europe and take over, and then later he would link up with the U.S. and England. That's why he allowed the British to evacuate France when he first invaded France. This is all mainline history. You got to dig a little deeper, but it's there. It's the same thing here. ISIS is the Free Syrian Army. Funded for 5 years, $6 billion at least we know about from Congress. They are Wahhabists. They are Saudi Arabia funded. They're recruiting all over the world. The West allows them to fly in and out of our countries. And then they march around with people at Mayday parades in Austin and other areas. I see the ISIS signs. I see it online. I recognize genuine grassroots recruiting versus projections and fake garbage. So this is two different animals. Does that mean that some agency or group in an agency, rogue group, might not stage terror attacks and blame it on ISIS? Does that mean that there aren't ISIS leaders being basically run by Western globalist organizations? No, that's come out. But the grassroots and their camp followers and their bots, as Colonel Schaefer called them, are real. They're real. And the border is wide open, and so undoubtedly there are going to be some attacks. And they've been picking up thousands a month of other than Mexicans, is what it's called in the sheets, the forms filled out by the Border Patrol, at one border sector in Texas alone. I mean, look it up. We've done whole stories on it. So there are people pouring across, like the guy who's allowed to broadcast in England and call for people's death, and the government leaves him on air because, you know, Michael Savage can't go to England, but imams can get on TV and call for killing people, basically. Because this is how they're bringing in political correctness, saying, oh, all these minority groups can say whatever they want, you just can't. And so if people like this are out there preaching at madrasas all over the Western world, and then they can come into the United States, you better believe that we're going to see things like this unfold. There's our report from last year with John Bound. Illegals from all over the world crossing the border. And Bound was out there talking to retired Border Patrol agents and ranchers and others about the situation. So what we're pointing out is this whole war on terror is a hoax. It is a fraud. We had a 15-year war that cost trillions of dollars, and now we're told that the al-Qaeda/ISIS threat is 10 times bigger than it ever was, and prepare for imminent attack. Now, I'm not going to get into that more until later. I want to come back and give you the good news on Jade Helm. This is a firestorm of awakening. And no matter how they misphrase things and put words in our mouths that we hate the military or that we say Obama's going to, you know, occupy the State House and all the rest of it, this is part of an incremental globalization through the federal government. And that's why we said it should be looked at, because in many other military training drills, they prepare. We have the video of the training drills and the police admitting working with them that they're preparing for war with veterans, gun owners, Christians. And that's what this is all about. And the fact that people are so upset shows they've reached their political breaking point, and they don't have any faith in the corrupt people that have hijacked the government by Chinese communist executives. You cannot make that up. Yep. The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind. He was way behind. He was willing to make a deal. And we're not privy to those deals because we're not stakeholders, to quote David Knight yesterday, quoting what they have to say. Sorry, Congress, you can't see it. Not a stakeholder. You're just the elected representatives of the people. Oh, everything's fine. Nothing's going on. Nothing's wrong. You know what the good news is? Before I get into Jade Helm and epic information, NSA phone data collection illegal. Appeals court rules. The New York Times. And I love these two shooters up in Garland. I love how they tweeted 6 hours before they were going to go kill people and talked about this event and other tweets. Any moron could, the FBI was watching them and had arrested them, but were ordered to release them. Just like 9/11. And the NSA didn't protect us, did it? No, a off-duty cop who knew there was a SWAT team inside guarding the people, was supportive of the First Amendment, was a smart guy, and thought, gee, they keep attacking these almost every time they have one in Europe. Maybe I should go stake it out. He didn't go hunting white-tailed deer. He went and was hunting prison scum. And I'm not saying everybody in prison scum. A lot of people are innocent or in there for, but I mean, these guys are, we're scum. We're going to get into that NSA situation, though. But I thought the NSA wasn't spying with keywords. Yesterday, I saw a Time Magazine article explaining how they record everything and then use keywords. Oh, my gosh, that's only been known for like 30 years since James Bamford, the producer of Nightline, exposed it. I used to go on the radio and play clips of Nightline episodes from like 25, 30 years ago, and people thought they were fake. We'd go, there's no NSA. It doesn't even exist. It's this culture of total denial. But I'll tell you what's exciting. People now don't deny this stuff. Mainstream media tries to deny it. Dying dinosaur media tries to. But Chuck Norris has come out with a very powerful article yesterday in WorldNet Daily. And he's Mr. Military. Military just loves Chuck Norris. In fact, I'm not bragging. It's just true. In fact, it's a great responsibility. It makes me feel incredibly humble and pathetic that we are the #1 show now by every metric listened to by the U.S. Armed Services. Because they know I know what I'm talking about. They want to be decompartmentalized. I was talking to a media analyst last night, and he said, Alex, you know, not just for the military, but for the establishment itself, your show is like porn to them. They're sick of watching all the lies and twisting in mainstream media. Even when people in the system are for something, they love to hear about it from your perspective. So it's not that I'm even that special. It's just that nobody else will just tell it like it is. And it's not my perspective. I've been reading what the globalists have to say forever. I've been watching their program progress. I've watched them do it faster and slower and in different ways in other countries. I'm obsessed with it. And I didn't have to steal their playbooks like the New England Patriots are known to do. Their playbooks are public because they have disdain and arrogance for the people. So you can differ with me on my interpretations of things, but you can't differ with me that the Pentagon says their main mission is gun owners and veterans. I mean, that is so legendarily evil and such a giant red flag that it should have everyone completely freaking out. And the good news is we finally are getting out of the trance. We're finally getting upset. Does it mean people know everything about Jade Helm? Does it mean it's a takeover? Probably not, 98%. It's part of an incremental takeover. And is the public overreacting in some ways? Yeah. But they've been underreacting to all the incredible off-the-chart gun confiscation in Katrina, and asset forfeiture seizure, and executive open borders, and 100 other insane things. Google watching people with their cameras and Samsung saying we're listening to you over the TV. I mean, this is all cuckoo level. So if people are now freaking out And the media is trying to spin it like, oh, we're nuts. No, we're finally acting like normal humans. When we come back, incredible quotes from Chuck Norris, amazing quotes from Texas Louis Gohmert, Congressman. I'm really proud of Texas. Texans don't want to be slaves. We've got a lot of faults, but at the end of the day, we're free people, and we will never submit to the globalists, and they know that. That's why they're training to take over.